Hello, session. I decided to make you a video because in this time of social isolation, as we talk about some things that are challenging, I mean, this is a hard task for a session, I thought it'd be helpful if you were able to see my face, and it's also good practice. I am using the Mevo for this, and so kind of figuring out how it works and how it records, it helps me to get ready for the Sunday service this Sunday. And it'll help you get ready too, because this is how we're going to do the Sunday service this Sunday. I'm going to pre-record something. It's largely going to be me talking, and I'm going to edit it, and then I'll set it as a premiere on YouTube. So you'll watch it just the way that you watched this just now. And that's how it's going to work on Sunday. If people have trouble, you're going to be experienced because we've done this together. I really think that's the right way to do it for a couple of reasons. Basically, the churches that are live streaming are either live streaming because they do that every Sunday when they have a live event, or because the other churches that do something technical are live streaming. But it doesn't actually make sense for an event that's not live to be live streamed, and we can have higher definition video and better quality video and erase mistakes and do more interesting, more interactive things if we go taped and premiered. So that's what I'm going to do, because you put me in charge of it, and I'm trying to take ownership of it. This is a time in the midst of a pandemic for leadership rather than management. The leadership has to call shots and take people places they don't necessarily want to go. So that's part of this, just kind of making decisions and moving forward. I've been asked for the link, so there's going to be a link to a video, but I have to make the video first before I can give a precise link. So the best link, and I'm going to have this in the email for you, it was in the previous email, is bit.ly/College Park Press. That is a redirect link, a shortened version of the link that will take you to the College Park Press YouTube channel, and that's where I'm going to put all of the College Park Press videos. So if you go to that channel, that YouTube channel, that website, you'll see all of the previous sermons and and services that we're going to do in this way. And there'll be a direct link that I'll send you all via email and text message in as many ways as I can. That's a big concept that we're going to have to learn and teach ourselves and each other through the coming weeks, is communication via as many means as possible is what we need. Clear communication when you're remote means send me a text message, send me an email, give me a phone call, send me a video, like whatever you can to make sure that we're all looped up. I have some more notes. That's, if you wonder why I keep looking over here, it's because I've got notes in front of me. I am going to be redoing the website. I have a website. I've been waiting to go live with it at a time that wouldn't be disruptive for the lives of the congregation, but it turns out having a non-functional website is going to be destructive for the lives of the congregation in the coming weeks. So I need to do it. I wish I felt better about it. I wish it was pristine and perfect. It is going to be a massive improvement upon our old site, but there's going to be a lot less content. It's going to be simpler and cleaner, and it might not work perfectly immediately at first. And so I just need you to be ready if there are problems, if there are complaints, to forward them to me and to be responsible in handling that information. But I'm not asking for session approval about that. Session actually asked me to do it a long time ago, and they have been patient in giving me time to prioritize other things. But now it's a priority, and so I want you to know that we're going to move on it, and I'll have that going as soon as possible. Other things that are happening as soon as possible: reopening for live services. I would love for that to happen soon. We chose at our informal meeting to use OCPS as the indicator. OCPS will not be open again before Easter. So we need to think about Easter, and we need to potentially think about beyond Easter. I've looked into some options. One exciting option would be to do a drive-in church service. So we'll do it out on the lawn. I'll get up high on a platform. People won't have to get out of their cars, and we'll do things that way. I'm also partnering with local College Park churches to see if anybody there wants to do a combined service. And I am there's an opportunity to join the PCUSA. The PCUSA is going to be doing a live streamed service from their front steps of PCUSA headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky. And so if we can't or don't want to get something together that's by its nature going to be slapdash because it's a pandemic, that's one option that's just kind of safe and easy and official that we can turn to. I'm going to keep working on that. We've got a little bit of time to decide. We've also got a little bit of time to decide, but we're going to need to decide on Sunday about communion. We are scheduled to do communion on April 5th, Palm Sunday. And it's going to be a challenge because we're going to be in our homes watching a video. I spoke with Paige about it this afternoon, and my recommendation to us is going to be that I will speak the words of institution over the video, and people who are watching the video will be instructed to have gathered some bread and drink, perhaps grape juice, perhaps wine. I want to kind of let them know the week in advance to, hey, if you go shopping, look for something you can use for this. But that way we don't ship anything and risk contamination of shipped things. And I actually think it's more meaningful to recognize that this bread that we're going to be especially thankful for when we have to fight to get to grocery stores and there's danger implied. But the bread that we make our sandwiches out of, this is Christ's body, and it's broken for us. And as often as you eat this bread and drink this cup, you proclaim the Lord's saving death until he comes again. So I think that there's some potential there, and that's the way to do it. I also think we could think about a drive-through Lord's Supper, so that I set up on the circular drive and people come by and receive the body and the blood. And I would probably need some of you to help with that, to set up on the circular drive for some of the hours that would be open. We could do either or both, and we could even do them more often, but that's something to think about as we figure out how to adapt to these kinds of things. I'll just forward my notes a little bit again. For you and I to meet, for the session and I to gather, I think the best way to do it is going to be on Zoom. So if we can get together on Zoom, that is supposed to be easier for end users, for the people using it. So I'll host it, and it'll be a little more complicated for me, but then you won't have to install anything. You don't have to do anything fancy. You just go to the link and we'll Zoom together, which is a video chat. You are going to need some equipment. You'll need a stable internet connection and a webcam with a microphone. Most laptops ought to have that. If you don't have the webcam part of it, it's okay. You can still Zoom and we'll just have the audio, but I think it's important, especially as we make difficult decisions and important decisions. Most of communication happens non-verbally, or at least through tone of voice verbally. And so even though we're trying to do things by a distance, to have video of you and your facial expressions and your tone of voice, to have the music and dance is going to be important. And so we'll try to do Zoom, and we'll figure it out. And if we can figure it out, we might down the line be doing Bible studies and other things via Zoom. But you're going to be the guinea pigs for that. So get ready for that, and then we'll have some important things to discuss at that Zoom session meeting. For one thing, we're going to need to retroactively affirm the decision we made informally to have worship 2 Sundays ago, or have worship last Sunday, which will be 2 Sundays ago by that time, and to not have worship this coming Sunday, which will be the morning that time, and to continue not having worship until OCPS opens up schools again. All of those decisions, we need them in the minutes, we need them officialized, so we'll have to talk about that. We need to talk about our tech situation and the budget, figure out where we're taking the $400 for the Mevo from, and look at budgeting some other stuff to get us up to date with tech, because if we are if we're trying to do worship via the internet and we're trying to get people comfortable with it, the better we are at tech, the less good our members have to be with tech. So I think we need to look at some upgrades to, especially to the internet accessibility in the sanctuary and the chapel are going to be some important things. And I think we're going to need a pro for that, because the alternative of a pro is a lot of amateurs, and we don't want to pull a bunch of amateurs together and have them getting dirty. And it's so we should talk about tech and budget for that. But if we're talking about budget, a more important budgetary concern is our insurance. Sherry is working on that, but it's an agenda item for the session meeting on Sunday. Basically, Church Mutual isn't covering wind, and we need another policy to cover wind, but the other policy costs as much as the Church Mutual. So wind costs as much as everything else if we stick with Church Mutual. And there's a possibility of somebody else that would cost something less than double what Church Mutual costs to cover everything and wind. And so, but we need to make a decision about that quickly, because it's I think it's March 25th. It's ending really fast, that we won't have wind coverage. Yeah, I think that's kind of our agenda. And now here's the really exciting thing. Thank you for waiting. I didn't mean to actually save this at the end. I had this at the end of the email, but the email is my notes. I want to ask us to start small groups. I really am really excited about it. I was watching a movie before the movie theaters closed. It was a movie called The Way Back. It's a sports movie. And I suddenly got to thinking, and I'm like, man, I wanted to start small groups, but I worried they'd be too small and that people wouldn't come to the Sunday service and the small group. But without the Sunday service, we can do a small group. They can be small. They can be small enough to be safe. In fact, they can even be small enough to not meet in person to start with. Right at the beginning of the pandemic, I think people are going to be more ready to be isolated. As time goes on, people are going to need small and safe ways to have social interaction. And so I think we can start looking at groups that are 5 people in size or smaller, and we won't be disappointed if it's just 2 people, and we won't feel like, oh no, this group is failing. We'll actually feel, great, this is safe, and we're getting social interaction, and we're safe. And that's what we're looking for. If you get more than 5 people in a group, if you start to, you're calling people and you're circling wagons and you're figuring out what people need, and more than 5 people need the same thing, that just means we need to split. That means now we have 2 groups, which is better. So it's really, really great discipleship practice, discipleship methodology. I mean, it's the stuff that this church needs for the next chapter of its life, for the next generation. We're working on praying this year. We're working on praying for 2 people who are in your network who need to know Jesus, but this is like a crash course in step 6 in the new context, because suddenly our main context isn't viable anymore. And so we're creating new context left and right, and we're getting great experience in it. And it's great. I mean, it really is. Not that I would wish for anyone to be sick, but through people getting sick, it's going to teach us how to be the church rather than go to church. So I want to ask Session to lead this. I'm certainly going to be working and starting groups. I have been starting groups. But I want you to kind of circle up your contact lists and trade with one another in order to build communities that not only do you look out for, but that look out for each other and that know that one another are in the group, whether they see each other in person or not. I think it'd be good for them eventually to be able to see each other in person in safe and sane ways. But even before that, to say, and again, I was watching a basketball movie, so I kind of got like basketball coach mode about this. So that is a lot, but that's really, really exciting. I hope you enjoyed watching my face rather than just reading notes, and I hope we can talk about it via group chat. And if any of you want to help me practice Zoom, if you're available tomorrow, I would love the help. We could do like a dummy video conference and we can just practice that. And if you're not good at Zoom, even better, because then you can get better at it and I can get better at it. And we can help each other through this. I want to pray over us before we go. God, thank you that I have this session. Thank you that this crisis didn't come until we had the team that I feel you have put in place for such a time as this, and I pray that you would be moving. That in this time when we go without, in this Lent, when there is stuff that we have given up, that we find what is most important. And so guide us, help us to hear your voice, help us not to get overstressed or overexcited, but to know in the midst of everything that you are under all and in all and through all in all. In your name we pray. Did you say it? Did you really say it to the video? Say it to the video. In your name we pray. Amen.